Hey guys, what's up? Drew Farnese here, coming to you today because I committed that I was going to document the entire process going from start and acquisition to finish sale of a fix and flip property. So I think there's a lot of value that can be had in going through the entire process from start to finish, and I'm going to try to document as much as humanly possible on this one to help you out if you are looking to do your first fix and flip or buy your first rental property that you're going to do a small rehab on, or whatever the case may be for you, if you're just looking to pick up some tips and tricks along the way. So I'm going to document every part of the process here, and I'll go into a little bit of the background, the story, and the deal specifically that we're looking at, that we're going to document everything on, and hopefully you'll be able to learn something along the way. So you will learn a little bit about kind of every step of the process, from the acquisition and analysis of a deal to the financing side to the getting quotes and estimating rehab and actually getting rehab done and comping a property, being able to sell it on the back end, figure out all of the knowns that are probably going to pop up throughout the process, and excited to take you on this journey with me. So a little bit of a backstory. I am a real estate investor. I've been in the fix and flip and landlord and wholesale world for coming up on 10 years now. I got started in real estate as a fix and flip guy, and as years passed, I kind of grew and scaled a fix and flip company. And parallel to that, I was buying rental properties and wholesaling as well, and had some issues with partnerships and you name it, and all the other issues that people that have been around for a while end up having in businesses. I had lots of those same issues. But through all that, I continued buying houses and buying rentals and wholesaling. For the past 3 years now, my focus has been on the wholesale side of the company, but I still do fix and flip 5, 10, sometimes more houses a year. And that's part of the reason why I want to share this process with you guys from start to finish on a flip. So there's kind of an added benefit and value for me as well. I promised myself that I wasn't going to buy any more flips or renovation projects this year. Last year, we went through a lot of changes with the wholesale company and the fix and flip company. I had a lot of projects going on at the same time. A bunch of stuff went wrong at the same time. We bought an office for a crazy amount of money and dumped way more money into it than probably should have, but that wasn't a fault of bad analysis or anything. That's because I'm my own worst enemy, and I can't really spin the camera around here and show you the office, but I like to do nice stuff, so kind of went a little bit above and beyond. Given all those things, though, I was pulled away from the wholesale company a little bit more than I should have been, for longer than I should have been, probably a couple months, and the company suffered a little bit as a result of that. So I told myself that I wasn't going to buy any more flips, rentals, any renovations, at least for the rest of this year. Let me get everything back with the company rolling to where it needs to be, so I can focus. And here we are. I literally just had this conversation at a real estate meetup a week ago, how I'm not buying anything for the rest of the year. And the long and short of it is, we had a deal that we were wholesaling, and it was supposed to close last Friday. Right now it's Tuesday. And the buyer decided the morning of settlement that he was backing out of the deal. And it's a really simple cosmetic rehab, and I didn't want to let the deal die. We don't have enough time to line up a new buyer, and I definitely don't want to leave our seller in a bad spot. We committed to them that we'd get this deal done, so here we are turning around buying this deal. Since I really don't want to do a rehab, again, that's why I thought that sharing the process along the way will be an added value to me and hopefully to you guys as well. If you're watching this and going through this journey with me, that I'm able to help somebody else out along the way. Like I said, we'll look at the deal here in a minute, but it is a easier cosmetic rehab. It's the kind of deal that if you are first getting started, this is what you should be looking for. You shouldn't be looking at $100,000, $200,000 renovations when you've never hired a contractor before. So putting all the pieces together, it seemed like a perfect one to take you guys on a journey through and hopefully be able to drop some little nuggets along the way that'll be helpful. So with that said, I'm going to spin this around here. And by the way, we're going super raw on all this, as frankly, I don't have a lot of time to really create meaningful content throughout this process. If I'm going to show as much as I can about this deal and the ins and outs of it and what's happening on the day-to-day, what needs to be looked at, what needs to be managed, and what needs to be done to get us to the closing table and get money in our pocket, I'm kind of just going to have to be super raw and unedited with everything that I'm documenting here. So totally taking a page out of Gary Vee's book, and we are documenting, we're not creating, and it pains the hell out of me because by and large I'm a perfectionist, and if I'm putting out anything I want it to be golden, but that's not what's going to happen here. But through that, I think and I hope that you'll see the real process, what goes into a deal, and how to make some money in this. So let's get right into it. Let me spin this around here. All right, cool. Whoop, can we make this smaller? All right, hopefully that is good. So, like I said, we are a wholesale company first and foremost right now, and we're on our website right here, revamp365.io. This is a little plug for my website. It's not going to mean too much to you unless you're in the tri-state area of Pennsylvania, Jersey, and Delaware, because everything that is on here, whether it's our wholesale deals or MLS properties, it's only in 15 counties in Pennsylvania, Jersey, and Delaware right now. But we're on here and we're going to look at the deal specifically. Where is it? Boom, right here. All right, so wholesale deal. Got this thing under contract. We marketed this deal out, $189,000. We had it sold for $185,000. And we won't go into the entire backstory with the buyer and what happened, but ultimately I can tell you that, like I did, the morning of settlement, they backed out, they flaked out, and didn't want to leave the seller in a bad spot. So here's the deal, and let's just look at some of the pictures here real quick, because this is ultimately where the entire process starts. If you want to buy a flip, a rental, do anything, it's all going to start, whether it's one of our wholesale deals or someone else's or something on the MLS. This is where the magic all starts. You got to be looking for deals and analyzing and underwriting all the time. So I always like to start just by looking at the pictures, right? So what do we got here? Nice little jungle gym in the front there. So this is a manufactured home. I think it's like almost 2,100 square foot, so it's big for a manufactured home. Vinyl siding definitely needs to be pressure washed, but doesn't look to be in bad shape. Now we're inside. These are some ugly carpets. Not too bad though. They cleaned out most of their belongings. Got some stuff all over the walls. Looks like we still got a couch here. More stuff on the walls. Kitchen obviously is not modern and updated, but it's not in bad shape. These cabinets aren't in style, but they're functional. We can keep them if we want. We can replace them if we want, which we'll talk a little bit about that stuff as well. Appliances are there. They're white, not stainless, which is more desirable, but that's okay. Here we got a broken window. Got this ugly thing on the ceiling. Some stains on the carpet. Another probably broken window here with a window AC unit, which just tells me that that room gets really hot because we do have central air in this house. Got some trim missing off the door here. Got a nice little jacuzzi tub in there. They left some little cabinetry behind or whatever. It's just a beautiful color carpet. Overall, not that bad though, especially considering a lot of the properties that we look at that are in total disrepair, need to be completely gutted. This is kind of like the Taj Mahal compared to a lot of the stuff that we look at. And like I said, that's why I wanted to go through the process with something like this, because if you are just getting started, or if you're not, this is a really good, easy deal to do and renovate, as long as the numbers make sense for you, which we'll talk about that as well. But yeah, just looking through, and they must have had some dogs because all the grass here is dead. There is septic, but looking here, it's probably messages popping up. A newer septic system. I forget the year this home was built, but it's not that old. We would definitely look into that. We got an oil tank here. We got oil and propane tank here. Some weeds growing up. Needs some landscaping. There's our AC unit that looks newer. So as I'm going through all of this, and that's why I'm going through it here, as I'm going through this, I'm just kind of painting a picture in my head. And for me, it's really easy to do. It's second nature because I've looked at so many houses and I've renovated so many houses. When you're first getting started, it's going to take a lot more time to really understand the cost of things as you're looking at it. But you can't shortcut this process. You know, you're going to spend some time learning and understanding and getting quotes for things and actually doing things and starting to build your mental inventory of what's good, what's bad, what do I normally spend for something. There's no way around it. But you can shortcut a lot of that process by, we'll talk about that too, just joining different real estate groups, asking questions. We're talking like free stuff. Facebook groups are awesome for it. I know there's almost every county has probably multiple real estate investor groups, and generally everybody is really willing to help. So here we can see that there is a newer roof on the house. It's got a dimensional shingle. So we shouldn't have to do roof. We know that we may have to replace some window panes that are broken. It's not like we have to replace all of them because they're old, but we may have to replace some window panes. It does look like the siding here maybe buckled a little bit. We're not going to replace it. We're going to see if we can repair and just click that back in. Like we saw, definitely need some pressure washing. And I think we're back to the start now. We're cycling back through them. All right, so just kind of got a mental idea of what the property looks like without going there. And that's one of the big things that I can't stress enough, because I talk to a lot of people that either are just starting or never will start because they waste way too much of their time. You have to, and that's why looking at the photos is so important. It's like you have to minimize your time spent. You can't go look, especially if you're working a full-time job and you're trying to do your first renovation, or just do this part-time. Maybe you've already done 5 or 10 before, but still you have a finite amount of time. You can't be going to look at probably even 20 to 30 houses a week. It's way too much. I can't go look at 20 to 30 houses a week And this is all that I do. So you have to get really good at looking photos and kind of assessing what a property is going to need by looking at photos. And then the ones that you're really serious about and are pretty confident the numbers are going to work and the deal is going to make sense for you, those are the ones that you're going to go out and actually see the property. All right. So if we just go through here, again, whether it's one of our wholesale deals that you're looking at or any other deal from another wholesaler, MLS, direct to seller, whatever, you're going to want to look at some of the information and confirm some things about the house. So property type, in this case, like I said, it's a manufactured home. It is 2,128 square feet, 4 beds, 2 baths, lot size. Apparently we got something messed up on our end there. That's embarrassing. Lot size is obviously not 1 square foot. I think it's actually 1 acre, so that could be the issue. But whatever. Build date, 2004. So back to the septic system that we saw in one of the photos. Doesn't concern me too much because the system's not incredibly old. The house was occupied up until recently. One of the issues with septic systems or any sewer system in general, you run into issues when a property sits vacant for a really long time, and that could cost you a lot of money, if whether it is septic or a regular public sewer connection and your pipes don't have water running through them. If it's cast iron, it can deteriorate and break down. So that's something to be aware of. We got gas forced air heat, which is probably propane, why we saw the propane tank, and we got central air. We got our taxes. Gotta love Delaware taxes, $687. It's insane. Tax assessment. Some of the other stuff, listing details, auto valuation. So this is all stuff that's kind of proprietary to our website. Purpose of all of it, I won't spend any time on it, but purpose of all of this, auto valuations, rental analysis, it's all, and flip calculators, it's all to save you time. Like I was talking about, you can't go look at 20, 30 houses a week. Same goes for this. Like, okay, in the counties that we have on this website, there's 6,000 active listings. I can't even look at the web listing for 6,000 properties. So we have some of these automated valuations, kind of like the best way to look at it is like Zillow, but focused on the real estate investor, to save you time so you can kind of know what the listing price of a property is and what the average reval is, basically an AVM, and it's basically letting us know what the average price of a home in that area is, an ARV after repair value. Again, this isn't about the website here, but our ARVs are off right now, which is super ironic though, because everybody's ARVs are always off compared to anybody that you ask. So it's kind of irrelevant. But whatever, here's the deal. Here's what we're looking at. So we just have to determine, is this a good deal? Do we want to buy it at $189,000 now that this opportunity is in front of us? So for specifically this scenario, since we already had this sold at $185,000 on the wholesale company side, we're not going to look at it from the lens of my wholesale company. We're going to look at it from the lens of my other company is buying this deal from a wholesale company. Who cares who it is? And do the numbers work? Do the numbers make sense? So, like I said, we do have a calculator on here, but I kind of already ran the numbers on a spreadsheet. So we're going to pull that up here real quick, and I'll walk you through that. Hopefully it's still sharing my screen here. Yeah, it looks like it. This is going to be in the way. Let's move my face. My face isn't the important part here. So this is just a rehab calculator spreadsheet. It's just super simple, straightforward. I can share this with anybody that wants it, but honestly, the calculator on our webpage is probably easier when it's a deal that's on our website that you're trying to analyze. The Excel spreadsheet is obviously going to be more convenient if a property is not listed on our site. So if you want a copy of this, just let me know. So, and I'm trying to burn through this as quickly as I can here. Like I said, ooh, look at this. We got an assignment. I'm trying to burn through this as quickly as I can because I want to condense as much info as I can to be able to deliver as much value to you as possible and make it kind of digestible, though. So, plugging in the numbers here. Asking price, we put in $180,000. Yes, we were marketing for $189 and we had it sold previously for $185, but after turning around and trying to resell it, basically the best offer that we could get was $180,000, but that still wouldn't have been able to close quick enough. That's why we're turning around and purchasing it. So that's the number that we're going to use as our purchase price here. So we are going to buy this property for $180,000, and we have to figure out if that makes sense. So looking through the photos, and man, I could probably do a 8-hour a day, 5-day a week class on just estimating renovations and getting estimates and bids and all that stuff. It's really hard to condense. I'm not going to bullshit you and say that there's some way to shortcut it because there's not. You have to learn it, and the way that you're going to learn it is by doing it, looking at deals, analyzing them, talking to contractors, getting bids. You're going to have to learn it. But carrying on. Rehab. So when I'm analyzing a deal, I'm usually looking at it from a couple different scenarios. And this one is no different because there's many different ways that you can make money on the property. On this one specifically, if we're looking at it the way that the numbers are plugged in here, spend $15,000. What can we get done for $15,000? We're planning to do basically paint, carpet, fix some broken windows, clean up some of the landscaping, not do anything extravagant, and fix anything else that might be broken. That's it. And as far as renovations that I've done, this is by far going to be the lightest renovation that we've ever done. Most of the stuff we do is kind of larger rehabs. So again, I thought this would be a really good one to walk through with you guys. But even though that is our plan, that we're going to do a really light rehab and we're going to be able to turn around and resell it for not the highest value, but it'll be a quick and easy deal. However, there is value in analyzing multiple ways. So I would also analyze this and say, what would this deal look like if I went in and I did do a full gut rehab? How much would I spend? Does it make sense, or will a buyer perceive that there is value added if we put a brand new HVAC system in, for example? And kind of run numbers that way as well. And it's like, okay, well, if I'm going to do a gut rehab, maybe I'm going to end up spending $80,000. But if I spend $80,000, can I still get a good ROI or a better net profit at the end of the day? And then it's a trade-off, right? It's like, let's just plug in a hypothetical here and I'll just give you a quick example. Let's say if we were to put in $80,000 in rehab and now we could get $340,000 out of the property. And again, this is hypothetical. All right, now we're looking at it. Well, net profit is going to be $46,000 when the way that we were looking at it before with a $15,000 rehab, even though we can sell for less, we're still looking at a higher net profit. So I'm not going to go super deep into that, but I do want to bring up that you should probably look at multiple ways of monetizing on the deal that you have. In this case, it seemed like the best thing and the best overall option for us to do a minimal rehab on this and then go list it on the MLS. Last option that we had was literally do nothing, do no rehab at all, close on this, and still go throw it on the MLS, and we could still probably make some pretty decent money on it. We wouldn't be able to get 280 out of it, but here, all right, real quick, we'll just plug in that scenario. My mouse doesn't want to work. Let's say we spent $0 and we could throw it on the MLS and get $200,000. Oops. All right, well, that wouldn't work. So now we're losing money. What if we could do nothing and get $220,000? Well, we could make $10,000 on the flip. It's an option. And coming up with what would you be able to get if you did no rehab, if you did some rehab, or if you did a lot of rehab. Again, that's another thing that I could probably talk about for 40 hours, which is comping properties. I'm not going to talk about it in this video. Maybe we'll look at it on another one. But the simple, easy way to explain that is just look at everything that's sold or is for sale or is pending in a 2 to 3 mile radius, sometimes even closer if there's enough properties in a 1 mile or half a mile radius, and look at the pictures on all of those. And the way you determine that, like the values that we had in here, $15,000 in rehab, $280,000 sale, the way that we came up with those values is by looking at sold comps in the last 6 months, and a lot of those properties had the same wooden style cabinets, not updated, no granite countertops, just standard boilerplate stuff. Some of them weren't even freshly painted or anything and had old flooring and carpets and everything. So this 280 on the sale is probably a really safe bet. Okay. You should also know, again, if no rehab was done at all, what do you think you could get out of it? And lastly, what is the nicest homes in the area that are renovated, do have new kitchens, updated bathrooms, you name it, it's done. What are those selling for? Okay, so again, this isn't supposed to be a masterclass on comping properties or anything. It's just supposed to be an overall look into it. So, all right, let's carry on here and see if our numbers work, make sense. So if we say we're buying for $180,000, we're spending $15,000 in rehab. We got some of our closing costs calculated here. In this case, the buyer, myself, has to pay both sides of the transfer tax. So in this county of Delaware, it is 1% buyer, 1% seller. Typically, well, I'm paying all of it, so got to calculate for that there. We got, actually, sorry, I took something out of here earlier. Whatever. This is really more so like your title costs and everything. This is our transfer tax. Our points on the loan, so we're borrowing private money on this deal. So points is the percentage of the overall loan amount that you're paying. So in this case, we're borrowing $180,000. So 4% of $180,000, that's what the points are. Basically, we're paying $7,200 to borrow this money. No commissions, none of this other stuff. We have to look at our finance costs. This is basically just calculating our 180 and 15 here. So in this particular deal, we're putting no money down. We're borrowing all of the money. Not going to talk a whole bunch about finance and deal structure and raising money in this because again, that could probably be a 40-hour long conversation. If you're just doing your first deal, you're probably not going to get 100% financing because you don't have a proven track record. You should always put your money on the line first. But I can actually, especially if you're in the same general area as me, we have a lot of commercial lenders, hard money lenders, banks that will do these deals all day long for you. For flips, you can usually get 90% of purchase and 100% of rehab, so you can still get into a deal with really little out of pocket. So loan amount in this case, borrowing $180,000. Interest rate, we're paying 12% on our money here, and we're anticipating that it's going to take about 4 months from time of purchase till time it is sold. So in that time frame, we're really hoping that we'll be able to get this light cosmetic renovation done in 30 days or less, get it on the MLS, and get it sold again, hopefully within a couple weeks. And then usually in a normal deal where somebody is getting an FHA mortgage or conventional or whatever, still usually going to take between 30 to 60 days. It's good to just call it 45 and be happy if it goes any quicker than that. So we're accounting that we're going to be in and out of here in 4 months. So we're also going to accrue about $7,200 in interest in that time frame. So putting these two together, basically the cost of the money that we're borrowing, it's costing us $14,400. Carrying cost, this is all taken into consideration. And it's basically calculating these. These are annual numbers. We got our property taxes in here that are super cheap anyway. These are all calculated into the total based on the number of months that we're holding on or planning to hold on to the property. We got our projected sale comp range. Obviously it matters, but nothing is calculated based off of that on this spreadsheet. Projected sale price, we talked about that. We're looking at $280,000. Then when we go to sell, we're going to have some fees and costs as well. We're going to have to pay transfer taxes. We're going to have to pay commissions. So if you don't have an agent that you're working with or anything, you're probably going to want to plug in 5 or 6% in here. A typical deal, you're going to pay 3% to a buyer's agent and 3% to a listing agent. Since we kind of do all this internally, which you can do as well if you flip houses, even long before I knew what the hell I was doing at all. I think from the very first property that we flipped, I still used a flat rate listing broker, put it on the MLS by myself, fielded all of the offers, inquiries, everything by myself, and paid a couple $100 to do that. So there's services out there. If this is something that you're looking to do full time and you have the mental capacity and you're not going to be emotional when you throw up this property that you just did a renovation on and it's your first one, whether it's your first, 5th, or 10th, it's still a little bit of a kick in the nuts when you put your heart and soul into something and just say we list this for $280,000. When you get an offer for $200,000 on the first or second day, you're going to be upset. So don't list this on your own unless you're actually prepared for it. Let a professional do it and spend the money to do so. So with that, that's what we're calculating for there. Look at some of our totals, total costs, bank finance, the amount of cash that I'll have into the deal, and that's basically taking into consideration our carrying cost, the renovation, which I'm not saying is a part of the loan that we're taking and everything, whatever. Put all that together, we're looking, if we hit a $15,000 rehab and if we get $280,000 on the sale, we're looking at a net profit of $53,000. Not a bad deal for an incredibly light cosmetic rehab. At this point, you've gone through, you've looked at it. In this case, I'm pretty confident in that 280 sale number, but you got to plan for a rainy day too, right? So let's say one of the big ticket items, septic system, it's shot. You might be thinking, well, Drew, why the hell are you buying something if you haven't had the septic system inspected? The answer in this case is pretty simple. Don't have the time. Deal came up last minute. Got to jump on it. And at the end of the day, even if the septic system's shot, I'm still going to buy the freaking deal. You know, I have enough spread in here. Let's just say that instead of spending 15 grand septic system shot, I have to spend 35 grand. Okay. I'm still going to make money. It's still going to be a good deal. Let's say everything goes wrong. Septic system is shot. We have to spend that money, and we only get $250 on the sale. Okay, I'm still making money. I'm still making about 5 grand at the end of the day, and that's under absolute worst case scenario, right? I feel pretty good about that. Feel pretty darn good about that. So with all that said, we're buying this deal. We're moving forward, and we're going to try our damnedest to hit a $15,000 or less renovation. All that's going to be done for that is paint, carpet, some light fixes, fix a couple broken windows, some light landscaping, and get this thing up on the MLS. So again, excited to take you through this journey. If you got any questions along the way, I don't even know where I'm posting this yet. I guess it's going on YouTube. Maybe it's going on Facebook. If you got any questions, let me know. Maybe we'll do some of these videos live when we're on site. I haven't even been to this house yet. Don't do that if you're just starting out. I haven't been there. Some guys from my company have, though, so makes me feel warm and fuzzy about it. Going to take you on this journey. Again, if you have any questions, drop them. Let me know. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.